The 1976 Tangshan earthquake. According to a study by the U.S. Geological Survey, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake burned the Chinese city of Tangshan to the ground at 3:42 a.m. on July 28, 1976. Tangshan, an industrial city with a population of roughly 1 million people at the time of the accident, saw almost 240,000 people killed. While this was the official death toll, some experts believe it is significantly understated, and that the actual death toll was closer to 700,000. According to reports, 85% of Tangshan's buildings fell, and tremors were felt more than 100 miles distant in Beijing, China. Tangshan was reconstructed to its former glory over a period of several years. The AD 526 Antioch earthquake. A definite death toll for the Antioch earthquake is difficult to come by, as it is for any millennia-old calamities. When the earthquake struck the Byzantine Empire city of Byzantium in May of 526, historian John Malalas estimated that roughly 250,000 people died. Malalas blamed the calamity on God's anger, claiming that fires had burned everything in Antioch that had not been destroyed by the earthquake. The death toll was larger than it would have been at other times of the year because the city was packed with tourists celebrating Ascension Day, the Christian feast that commemorates Jesus' ascension into heaven, according to a 2007 report published in the Medieval History Journal. The 1920 Haiwan earthquake. During a seminar in 2010, Deng Guidong, a geologist of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, stated, "The Haiwan earthquake was the largest quake recorded in China in the 20th century with the highest magnitude and intensity." The earthquake that devastated Haiwan County in north-central China on December 16, 1920, also shook adjacent Gansu and Shanxi provinces. The earthquake was apparently a 7.8 on the Richter scale, although China believes it was an 8.5 today. There are also inconsistencies in the number of people who have died. The USGS reported 200,000 deaths, however a 2010 study by Chinese seismologists estimated that the death toll could have been as high as 273,400. According to a study published in the journal Landslides in 2020, the region's heavy concentrations of loess soils generated enormous landslides that killed over 30,000 people. The 1839 Coringa cyclone. Village people try to repair the broken dam after the landfall of Cyclone Amphan in Satkhira, a town on the Bay of Bengal, in spring 2020. According to NOAA's Atlantic Oceanographic and Meteorological Laboratory Hurricane Research Division, the Coringa cyclone made landfall on India's Bay of Bengal port city of Coringa on November 25, 1839, blowing up a storm surge of 40 feet. The wind velocity and category of the hurricane are unknown, as they are for many storms that occurred before the 20th century. An estimated 300,000 people died as a result of the destruction of 20,000 ships and boats. The 2010 Haiti earthquake. On January 12, 2010, a magnitude 7.0 earthquake devastated Haiti just northwest of Port-au-Prince, making it one of the 3 deadliest earthquakes in history. Haiti's status as one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere, along with its lack of experience with severe earthquakes, made it particularly vulnerable to destruction and death. The earthquake impacted up to 3 million people. The death toll was reported to be somewhere between 230,000 and 316,000 individuals at first by the Haitian government, but that number was revised to 316,000 in January 2011. The number of deaths was estimated to be around 160,000 in a 2010 research published in the journal Medicine, Conflict, and Survival, while the USGS claimed even lower figures, around 100,000. These discrepancies reflect the difficulty of tracking deaths in the modern period, let alone the political squabbling over official figures. In the aftermath of the enormous cyclone and associated tidal surge that pounded the area in November 1970, villagers wander through a field of dead livestock and look for rice and other grains to salvage, near Sonapur, East Pakistan. The 1556 Shanxi earthquake. On January 23, 1556, the world's deadliest earthquake struck China's Shanxi region. According to the Science Museums of China, the Templar, dubbed the Jiajing Great Earthquake for the emperor during whose reign it occurred, devastated a 621 square mile swath of the kingdom to rubble. The collapse of their Yadong, cave houses dug into the region's lowest plateaus, killed an estimated 830,000 people. The actual magnitude of the quake has been lost to history, but geophysicists today estimate it to be approximately magnitude 8. The 1887 Yellow River flood. In the late 1880s, the Yellow River in China was perched perilously above most of the land surrounding it, thanks to a series of dikes built to control the river as it flowed through central China's agriculture. These dikes had silted up over time, gradually raising the river's elevation. According to Encyclopedia of Disasters, Environmental Catastrophes and Human Tragedies, when torrential rains swollen the river in September 1887, water poured over these dikes into the adjacent low-lying area, inundating 5,000 square miles. An estimated 900,000 to 2 million people perished as a result of the flood. The 1931 Yangtze River floods. The central China floods of 1931 were produced by excessive rainfall in central China in July and August 1931, resulting in the world's deadliest natural disaster. Spring snowmelt mixed with almost 24 inches of rain that poured in the month of July alone, causing the Yangtze River to overflow its banks. The flood submerged about 70,000 square miles, according to the Nature of Disaster in China, the 1931 Yangtze River flood. According to current government estimates, the number of persons killed was roughly 2 million, although other agencies, notably the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, believe it was as high as 3.7 million.